So I think over a year ago, I posted like these two, I'll put them up here and I'll link them to this video, these two videos, and I never really explained like what I was supposed to explain in a subsequent video. So let me explain it here. So the one with Chris Tucker. So that one specifically has many layers of meaning, which I think I'm gonna be deconstructing, hopefully over several videos because this one's already 30 seconds. So hopefully in 30 seconds or less, I can help you to understand what I'm pointing out here. The first level of meaning is that the person who's a Christian, part of the cult of current Christianity, possibly an evangelical or whatever, is does not actually know what they're worshiping. And if it walked up to them and stood in front of them, they would not know it. And we see that we've seen that over the past couple of weeks with great clarity as we have watched evangelicals like with their whole chest, arms wide open, embrace white supremacy openly in the person of CK. And they all seem to be in agreement with something that some people have been confused about for a while. I have not. People ask me why I started to deconstruct is that I realized that we're not worshiping the same thing. I grew up in the same church with them. And I started seeing like in the Facebook days, the things that they would say, because back in the day, people would just throw whatever they wanted on their page. And I started realizing, along with the Russian bots and trolls that I've talked about here on my channel, because I identified them back in the day just because of my education, my life experience with that side of the world, and those people, like I knew what was going down. Facebook didn't care. And it was at that point that I knew Facebook was in on it, and they still haven't been held accountable for it. But I realized, sorry, let me circle back around from one of my all-time longest yapping loops. I realized that we all weren't worshiping the same thing. We all didn't believe in the same thing, I think, which is the way I should better explain it. And so I have been expressing that and deconstructing that on my channel. And I wanted to come up with like a short form way of explaining that is that as you have seen over the past couple of weeks, evangelicals are worshiping something totally different than most people. Whether you've deconstructed, whether your deconstruction is complete, or you just kind of have thought critically about what you believe and then begin to adjust because you realize you were raised to be a proponent of Christian nationalism, which is really what Christianity in the United States is, with some exception. So once I started realizing all of that, I started talking about it on my channel. And then that clip that I created, I think I'll put it again up here just so that you guys can see it. It really brings into focus what I've been saying in a short form, which is they don't even know what they're worshiping they've been working the clay of their own imagination for so long. I mean, I know I say this all the time, but they've been working the clay of their imagination for so long that if what they're actually, if what they are actually worshiping showed up and they were standing with it face to face, they would know that you is sitting there saying to Chris, his character, like, I'm you. And Chris is saying, no, he's like objecting because he completely doesn't understand, because he's wholly ignorant to the reality that there are people who could literally be named YU or however it would be spelled. And because it's like most Christians, they're theologically ignorant. They don't even know. They just know what their core dogma is supposed to be, and they're marching along as a warrior for Christ in the imperialist and colonist army of Christ. behind white Jesus, and they know that that is what they're supposed to do. They don't have to think too hard. They just follow the core dogma. It is regurgitated on Sundays. They're given a couple of classifications which most of them don't fit in. They're not LGBTQIA plus smokers, drinkers. I'm trying to think of the Jezebels, right? You never see someone called a man Jezebel. I don't know what a man Jezebel would be. I don't anyway. But once they hear those classifications during the sermon, and we've all heard those sermons over and over again, where they tell you the dogma, what you're supposed to not be doing, what you should be doing. They tell you the people who are the enemy, and then there's a call to salvation. And it's come to a point where I'm like, call to salvation to what? Reconciliation to what? This dogma that we're all learning that you're saying is the truth. But I digress. So that clip is one that I will continue to unpack, because there's so many layers of meaning that are in that clip that I think, especially after the shenanigans, the reality check that many have started to receive about evangelicals, Christian nationalists, the cult of current Christianity all around the world, and here in America, you can see people all around the world siding with bigotry and white supremacy, under the guise of being pro CK, that person who was just on a live last week, and they're calling it all a difference of opinion when when hatred, bigotry, racism, although it could be considered a kind of opinion, it's a kind of opinion that you should not be at all surprised if someone reacts violently about what you believe, because you hold those positions, because your position is violent. To stigmatize, to denigrate, to dismiss, to dehumanize BIPOC, Black people and Indigenous people and people of color, just because you were trying to fight on, do a culture war on behalf of supremacy. That's not just an opinion. That's a violent one. And you were being violent, and stoking and inciting stochastic terrorism. And when you die because of stochastic terrorism, like Nick Fuentes got up and said, had basically called for the head of Charlie Kirk, said that he could do it, and they're all bragging, and they're all thinking to themselves, this is all just fluff, and we're just all just saying stuff, and usually there's no consequence, except for there's, people who are for us and against us, but they use the people who are against them to power the people who are for them. And I should just draw that all. One day I'm gonna have to animate that, what that looks like, because they think it's a game, but now, because that's truly what's bothering them now it's not a game. Now we have a generation of folks that you can't just be like Rush Limbaugh, who inspired the other ones, the Turning Points and all that. It's not just talking now. It's literally right on right gang violence. And people are learning that the right is not as unified as they think. And they're learning that the civil war that they thought was going to occur, in which they were going to finally be able to kill BIPOC, they were finally unalive as many people as they could, and take all their stuff and finish the civil war that they began. They're learning that it's not going to happen in the way, and we're not finished. Let me just use my intuitive bit. We're not done. We are not done. I'll do more videos because this one's going long. But people really, I do want to, let me cut this short. I do want to encourage you to watch that video, see what you get from it, because and I'm going to give you some future, as we continue to see the cult of current Christianity all around the world, but just focus here in America, watch how it reacts to the things that come. Christianity is the perfect pal, the perfect friend, the perfect confidant, lover, bestie of the Yahtzees. Was and still is. Perfect complement. The supremacy, the patriarchy, the misogyny, the hierarchies, the pyramid scheme, and the way that people try to capitalize off of the sacrifice of children and others. Perfect friend, complement to the Yahtzees. But yeah, I'll keep unpacking those videos. I just wanted to help you guys to enjoy them even better.